Finding a place to live can be a challenging endeavor. There are so many things to consider, making it quite overwhelming to figure out. But there are some people out there who don't mind putting themselves in strange locations for the sake of having the perfect home. Stick around until the end to find out why the sky is truly the limit when it comes to finding a home you love. Before we get started, take a moment to subscribe to TheRichest by clicking on that lovely red subscribe button. And if you're yearning for new friends with similar interests, check out our community tab to get connected. Now here are 10 homes built in the strangest places around the world. Volcano House. Halfway between Los Angeles and Las Vegas in California, there is a dome-shaped house that sits on top of a hill. A hill that could be mistaken for an active volcano, but it's actually a volcano cinder cone. The Volcano House was built in 1968 by Harold Bissner Jr., who was inspired by the San Onofre nuclear generating station in San Diego County. The house has a 360-degree view of the desert and has 2,206 square feet of space. It has an open floor plan that'll make you feel like you're in a vast open area with amazing views to take in. There's also an observation deck on top of the house, which makes it prime real estate for looking at the stars and watching meteor showers. While the house looks like it belongs in another decade, it is completely functional today. Would you dare live in the middle of one of the hottest deserts in the world? The Lighthouse. It's not uncommon to find lighthouses at the edge of a cliff by the water. This is a practical location so that ships can see the light to avoid crashing into land. But there is one lighthouse in Iceland that isn't so easy to get to. You can't walk or climb to this location, you have to take a helicopter. The lighthouse sits at 120 feet high and it is about 4.5 miles from the Iceland shoreline. The pillars of rock in this area are certainly dangerous to any passing sea vessel, thus the importance of the lighthouse. It was built in 1939 and builders had to climb with their supplies all the way up the cliff. These days, maintenance can be easily done thanks to helicopters. But the groundwork was all laid by hand, which is the most impressive part of this lighthouse's story. Suspended houses. Built in the 16th century, you might think that these houses in Pont-à-Rayon, France couldn't have possibly been built dangling precariously along the side of a cliff, but they were. The town originally had 3 castles, one of which was destroyed in 1945. Today, a college sits on that original site. The other 2 castles faded with age, with one of them having nothing left but minimal remains. Nowadays, the town is a tourist site that celebrates its 16th century heritage. It is unknown whether there are still people living in these multi-level hanging homes. Given that there has to be people working in the area, it's safe to assume that they're living in the homes too. The town was in a prime location, given its position in the mountains and near the cliffside. But it seems that the builders of the 16th century didn't take into account that erosion would occur over time. Nail house. If you don't know what a nail house is, it is basically what happens when a homeowner refuses to give in to the demands of developers and road builders. One of the most famous nail houses was one that had a road built around it. Whether it was because the owner didn't want to give up their home or they were holding out for more money, the situation is an amazing one to see. There's considerable damage to the home thanks to the construction. Apparently, the owner was still living in the home at the time, which means they were faced with constant construction noise on a daily basis. One nail house in Shanghai blocked the road for 14 years before it was finally demolished in 2017, after the owners agreed to a payout of over $400,000. House 205. Located in northern Spain, House 205 is another one of those structures where it might not be a good place for those who fear heights. It was built by H. Arquitectes and it sits on the edge of a steep canyon. If you want breathtaking views of the countryside, it seems that a steep canyon is the place to be. Construction of the house had Mother Nature in mind, as the architects didn't want to disturb the natural environment. As easy as the house went up, it is built to be easily disassembled, with the materials then used for recycling. The house is built in an odd place because the architects wanted it to go flush with nature, as to not interrupt the visual impact of the countryside. In other words, if you want to play the most epic game of hide-and-seek for years to come, House 205 might give you the ability to do so. Coober Pedy. Located in Australia, Coober Pedy is probably one of the most unique towns in the world, along with being the most unique tourist destination. It is known as the opal capital of the world, too, considering there's a lot of precious opal in its mines. While the town isn't completely underground, there are people who have chosen to make their home down below. One of the most notable tourist destinations for Coober Pedy is the Comfort Inn that is underground. The town has an abundance of underground homes where people have created suitable living spaces out of a cave. To give you an idea of the area's history, Coober Pedy was covered by ocean about 150 million years ago. As the waters receded, it had sculpted caves and caverns that gave inspiration for a safe and suitable living space. Known as dugouts, these homes are pretty much abandoned mine shafts. These homes take time to construct and usually require a pick and a shovel. No industrial building equipment here. Meteora Monasteries. Meteora is a well-known rock formation in Greece that has become famous for being the home of one of the most complex and largest monasteries for the Eastern Orthodox Church. Some of the smaller buildings date all the way back to the 14th century, and there are still some monks and nuns who call Meteora home. The place has become a protected UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Building a monastery on top of a massive rock formation doesn't really give off the vibe of a welcoming church that's easily accessible. In order to access the monasteries today, you have to climb up several sets of stairs and pray that you make it up alive. Below the ground atop of Meteora is a tomb holding the skulls of monks who have passed. There's even a monastery on a nearby pillar which monks use a cable car to access. When you look at it, it definitely doesn't look like a home that would be stable or safe. Whatever you do, just don't look down. Just Room Enough Island. The Just Room Enough Island sits in between the United States and Canada in New York. The island was bought in the 1950s by the Sizeland family, who wanted to create their own island getaway. There's even a small beach with lawn chairs for visitors to sit and enjoy the landscape. In order for a piece of land to be considered an island in the region, it has to be larger than 1 square foot in size, grow a tree, and must stay above water year-round. So Just Room Enough Island qualifies as an island. But in all honesty, the house is almost bigger than the land it sits on. It's practically a houseboat. The Sizeland family thought they had an island retreat to vacation on, but with such a unique location for a home, tourists started to catch wind of their getaway. The bombardment of tourists trying to check out the place soon ruined the vacation vibe. Today, the house is known to sit on one of the smallest inhabited islands in the world, and it still continues to attract visitors year-round. Keret House. Located in Warsaw, Poland, the Keret House is known as the narrowest house in the world. When one considers building or buying a house, space is usually a must, but the Keret House is not meant to be a spacious residence. It was an art installation created by Jakub Szczęsny, who first revealed the concept in 2009. In 2012, the house was finally complete, and it attracted tons of attention for Warsaw, surprising everyone involved. If you think that this art installation isn't functional, think again. It has become a haven for traveling writers who need an inspirational place to stay and rest their head. The Keret House sits right in between 2 historical buildings. This was done intentionally to bridge the past and the present together to create a living space for all. The space is shaped like a triangle with a staircase that pulls down to let the visitor in. The bathroom and sink are located on the lower floor, while the bed and writing desk are located on the 2nd floor. Sky Sphere. Located in New Zealand and built and designed by Jono Williams, the Sky Sphere is app-controlled and solar-powered. Jono's original idea was to build a treehouse, but he eventually settled on a design that looks an awful lot like what you would see in a sci-fi movie. The exterior is made of steel, and the windows offer a 360-degree view of the surrounding area. The Sky Sphere was created for a modest sum of $75,000. And compared to the price of your average home, the Sky Sphere is an absolute steal. However, it is much smaller in size and wouldn't have enough room for an entire family. The space features a couch and a bed, and that's pretty much it. If a getaway from daily life for a short period of time is what you need, then the Sky Sphere is the perfect place to be. It also has rooftop lights, giving it a chic and refined vibe that also makes it look a little like a nightclub. What do you think of these 10 homes built in the strangest places around the world? Would you live in one of them? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out with us, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible videos every day.